Good morning, friends. Today we will discuss about the specific heat capacity of gas. In last lecture, we have studied about the pressure exerted by the gas, RMS speed of gas, and interpretation of the temperature in kinetic theory of gas. Now today we will discuss the specific heat capacity of gas. So what is a specific heat capacity? The word specific heat means particular heat. Here we have to discuss the specific heat capacity. It means that different substances, or if we consider solid, liquid and gas, then these different states of matter requires different amount of heat to rise the temperature. Even if we consider a fixed amount of material, that is either gas, solid or liquid. So in this case we have to discuss the specific heat capacity of gas. Specific heat capacity is defined as the quantity of heat or amount of heat required to rise the temperature of unit mass of substance through 1 degree Celsius is called specific heat capacity. If we consider unit mass or 1 kg of substance, then it is called principal specific heat capacity. Instead of unit mass or 1 kg, if we use 1 mole of substance, then it is termed as molar specific heat capacity. Means specific heat capacities are two types, that is, one is principal specific heat capacity and second is molar specific heat capacity. Again, I repeat the definition of principal specific heat capacity: the quantity of heat required to raise the temperature of unit mass or 1 kg mass of substance through 1 degree Celsius, then it is called as principal specific heat capacity. It is denoted by C, small c. And second definition is molar specific heat capacity. So it is defined as the quantity of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 mole of substance by 1 degree Celsius is called molar specific heat capacity. Molar specific heat capacity is always greater than that of the principal specific heat capacity. Now these specific heat capacities are of two types. One is specific heat at constant pressure. It is denoted by Cp. And number two, specific heat at constant volume. It is denoted by Cv. Now what is Cp and what is Cv? So first we see specific heat capacity at constant pressure. The quantity of heat or amount of heat required to raise the temperature of unit mass of substance through 1 degree Celsius at constant pressure, then it is called specific heat capacity at constant pressure. Means in this case we keep the pressure of gas constant. Second, specific heat capacity at constant volume. So it is defined as the quantity of heat required to raise the temperature of unit mass of substance through 1 degree Celsius at constant volume. It is called specific heat capacity at constant volume. Means we keep here volume of the substance constant. There is a relation between the specific heat capacity at constant pressure and constant volume, that is relation between Cp and Cv, and it was given by scientist Mears, and therefore we can see the relation between Cp and Cp by using Mears relation. So we see what is Mears relation. relation. To see the Mayer's relation, we consider a vessel. Suppose this is a container which is filled with a gas, some amount of gas in this container, and this container is fitted with a frictionless piston. This is a piston. Now this gas is fitted in a container with a frictionless piston. This gas has some volume and some pressure. Now first we see, let P, V and T be the pressure, volume and temperature of the gas. Let P, V and T be the pressure, volume and temperature of gas. Now suppose the gas is heated at constant temperature. First we see the gas is heated, we do not keep here temperature constant, we keep volume constant because we are heating the gas and therefore temperature cannot be constant. So first we heat the gas through small increase in temperature, keeping the volume constant, means in this case heating. So first heat gas through temperature dt at constant volume, means volume of gas is constant and gas is heating. Suppose dt be the rise in a temperature of gas, keeping volume constant, dt be the rise in temperature of gas, and let dq1 be the supplied heat, dE be the increase in internal energy, and dW be the external work done. But here we heating the gas keeping the volume constant and therefore there is no external work done by the heat. Therefore dW is equal to 0. So according to the first law of thermodynamics, this supplied heat dQ1 is equal to dE plus dW. Therefore dQ1 is equal to dE, means supplied heat is equal to the internal energy. But this supplied heat dQ1 is equal to CV dt. This CV is the principal specific heat at constant volume and dt is the rising temperature or increasing temperature, and therefore dE is equal to CV dt. This is equation number 1. This is first case. Now in the second case we heat the gas keeping the pressure constant. So we delete this and here write, that is case 2. Heat gas at constant pressure. So pressure is constant. Therefore let dt be the rise in temperature, dE be the internal energy, increasing internal energy, external work done. Now in this case, volume is not constant, pressure of the gas is constant, and therefore when we heat the gas, then its volume will be increases, and as the volume increases, it means that some work will be done on the gas, that is external work done, and dQ2 be the supplied heat. dQ2 is the supplied heat, and therefore this dQ2 is equal to dE plus dW. dQ2 is equal to dE plus pW, but this dQ2 is equal to Cp dt, because in the second case we heating the gas at constant pressure, means supplied heat is equal to Cp dt, where Cp is the specific heat at constant pressure. Therefore we can write Cp dt is equal to dE plus dW, but from equation 1 dE is equal to Cv dt, and therefore this can be written as Cv dt plus P plus dW. Therefore this can be written as Cp minus Cv in bracket dt is equal to dW. This is equation number 2. Now from the ideal gas equation, for 1 mole of gas, using PV is equal to RT, that is ideal gas equation for 1 mole. Now differentiating on both sides, and therefore PdV is equal to RdT. This PdV is equal to RdT, and this increasing work done dW is equal to PdV. Therefore dW is equal to RdT. Therefore this equation can be written as Cp minus Cv into dt is equal to RdT. So dt get cancelled, and Cp minus Cv is equal to R. So Cp is greater than Cv, but how much it is greater than Cv? So Cp is equal to Cv plus R, or Cp minus Cv is equal to R, and this is nothing but the Mayer's relation. Now if we consider M0 with the molar mass of gas, Sp and Sv be the molar specific heat at constant pressure and constant volume, then we can write this relation as Cp is equal to, or let M0 be the molar mass of gas, Sp and Sv be the molar specific heat capacity, then we can write Cp is equal to Mo into Sp, and Cv is equal to Mo into Sv. Therefore equation 2 becomes, or equation 3, means this is equation 3, so equation 3 becomes MoSp minus MoSv is equal to R. Therefore Sp minus Sv is equal to R upon Mo. This is Mayer relation for principal molar specific heat at constant pressure and molar specific heat at constant volume. This is nothing but Mayer's relation. Now we see the degrees of freedom this word degrees of freedom is nothing but the ways, means different path or different ways or different modes in which an atom or molecule can be move or travel. These different number of ways or different paths of traveling the molecule in a gas is known as degree of freedom. In a standard manner, we can define degrees of freedom of a system. You write down for your notes. Degrees of freedom of a system is defined as the total number of coordinates. Means if we consider x, y, z coordinates, if a molecule travels in only one direction, that is required only one coordinate. If it moving in a plane, then it requires two coordinates. And if the molecule is moving in a space, then it required three coordinates. So these are different number of coordinates, and therefore degrees of freedom of a system is defined as the total number of coordinates or independent quantities required to describe the position and configuration of the system completely. Means to indicate or locate the position and configuration of the system completely, we require number of coordinates, and these number of coordinates are called as degrees of freedom. So if we consider a molecule is free to constrain or free to move in space, then it required three coordinates. Means a molecule in a space required three coordinates to move. Therefore it has 3 degrees of freedom. If molecule is constrained to move along a line, single line, then it required only one coordinate. Therefore it has only 1 degree of freedom. If molecule is constrained to move in a plane, then it required 2 coordinates. It means that it has 2 degrees of freedom. So in this way we can explain the degrees of freedom. And after this degrees of freedom, we see law of equipartition of energy. Law of equipartition of energy. So what is law of equipartition of energy? Its simple meaning is that energy is equally distributed. That is equipartition. Means energy is equally distributed. Is nothing but the law of equipartition of energy. For any dynamical system in thermal equilibrium, the total energy is equally distributed among all degrees of freedom, and the energy associated with each molecule per degree of freedom is half k beta t. That is half k beta t. This energy is equally distributed among all degrees of freedom, and the energy per degree of freedom is equal to half k beta t. This is energy per degree of freedom. Or in other words, we can define in equilibrium the total energy is equally distributed in all possible energy modes, with each mode having an average energy equal to half k beta t. So energy is equally distributed in all modes, which is equal to average energy per molecule or per degree of freedom is half k beta t. Therefore the kinetic energy of single molecule is, means if the molecule is moving in a space that is it has 3 degrees of freedom, means it will move along the 3 coordinates, and therefore the average kinetic energy of molecule, average kinetic energy is equal to half m vx square, that is along the x-axis, half m vy square, that is along the y-axis, and half m vz square, that is along the z-axis. So according to the degrees of freedom or law of partition of equipartition of energy, average kinetic energy is equal to, means each energy mode is equally distributed and it is equal to half k beta t, means half k beta t plus half k beta t plus half k beta t. It means that it is equal to 3/2 k beta t. This is average energy or average kinetic energy, and this is nothing but the law of equipartition of energy.